Middleman. Middleman.
Welcome to this edition of The Middlemen. On this forum, we are jurors and we exist to place issues on record, slow the noise down, and turn the lights on. Where emotions step aside and facts take the seat at the table. Power is not praised here. It is questioned, it is examined, it is held to its own record. We do not run after headlines, we trace decisions. We follow documents, we connect actions to outcomes. Today, responsibility will be laid out clearly, and the verdict will be simple, firm, and free of sentiments. Juror Emeka Madunagu, in his case titled "The Big Man and His Pee," goes beyond the viral clip of a politician doing his business on the street. It says the culture is not the call of nature, it is the culture of indifference. In a country investing in water, sanitation, and hygiene programs such public displays expose both infrastructural gaps and the troubling leadership mindset. For him, dignity in governance must reflect in conduct, especially in public. With Tinubu, the 10th National Assembly, and the e-transmission debate case, juror Henry Igwebike has a pointed question. If Nigeria's telecom operators say the infrastructure is ready, why is the political class saying otherwise? He warns that publicly doubting the nation's own digital strength could damage investor confidence and project uncertainty at a time when credibility is critical. I, Juror Olajumoke Alaode James, in my case, not too young to run. A call to action. I say leadership is not inherited, it is reserved, and not reserved for the oldest in the room. The Constitution has opened the gate. What remains is courage, competence, and participation. If young Nigerians refuse to run, entrenched interests will keep recycling themselves. Democracy, I insist, is not a spectator sport. All of these conversations and more we will dissect after this short break. Please stay with us. We will be right back.
Middleman. Middleman.
Thanks for staying on The Middleman. My case, not too young to run. In 2018, young Nigerians pushed back against a political culture that treated leadership like inheritance. The result was the Not Too Young to Run Act, signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari, reducing age requirements for elective office. Capacity is not a function of wrinkles. The present crop of lawmakers have since outgrown their usefulness. They treat the National Assembly as their retirement homes. By the Not Too Young to Run Act, the age to run for president dropped from 40 to 35. Senators, 35 also. For the House of Representatives and State Assemblies, from 30 to 25. It was a legal reform. But law alone does not produce power. Participation does. Are you fresh from the university and have done your National Youth Service? Then run for your State House of Assembly. You are more than qualified. A secondary school qualification is the minimum requirement. The current leaders are already putting their children there. You're not too young to run. Young Nigerians are numerically dominant. Over 60% of the population is under 30. Yet, decision-making power remains concentrated in the hands of a political elite that does not proportionately reflect that demographic reality. We complain about unemployment. We protest poor governance. We critique policy on social media with precision. But leadership is not a spectator sport. The Not Too Young to Run reform was structural access. It opened the constitutional gates. What remains is for young Nigerians to walk through it strategically, competently, and ethically. This is about fiscal responsibility, digital literacy and governance, policy innovation, and long-term national planning. If you want better budgeting, run. If you want transparent procurement, run. If you want educational reforms, run. You're not too young to run. Or support those who run. Because politics does not create a vacuum. If capable young people do not step in, entrenched interests will continue to recycle themselves. here's my verdict. It is time for young Nigerians to stand up, not merely as voters, but as candidates, not merely as critics, but as policy makers. Join the political parties that do not demand you buy forms with millions. Galvanize support for young, credible candidates who have integrity and love Nigeria and Nigerians. Leadership is not reserved for the oldest among us. It is earned by the boldest, the most prepared, and the most accountable. The Constitution has spoken. The law has cleared the path. The question is, are you ready? While we push for real-time transmission and e-collation of election results, let's also register on citizenmonitors.com to digitally secure polling units so the old folks do not manipulate elections in their favor. I pretend again that Nigeria will succeed.
Yes, I love that call to action. Are you ready? Are you ready? Of course, all Nigerian youth are all ready. But of course, we can't despise gerontocracy, right? A situation where the young people abandon leadership to the old. And to some extent, we would love to blame our culture for that. A situation where a young person would not want to run against an elderly person because of respect for such a person.
We don't question elders here.
Yes, exactly. You know, and when an elder says, hey, wait for your turn, what do? You have to wait for your turn. It was shown yesterday when Nyesom Wike had directed some AMAC local government chairman in Abuja to step down because he felt that they were running on the platform of another party. And he wanted the APC candidates to take over. Amongst all of them, one resigned yesterday. Right? So you can see how that old people question the proficiency and the dexterity of young people, and young people do not have a choice but to obey and respect them. Now, if we throw it across the place we find ourselves, you know, how much of that equally can we say of Senegal, for example? You know, what's the name of the president? Faye. Faye, yes. Faye is 45.
Yeah.
45.
Going to be 46,
yes. 46, yes. So, and he is the president of Senegal.
Yeah.
Doing awesomely well. Doing great. So the question is, was it that the old people were not there? Or was it that the people were conscious that they needed this person? Or was it the electoral process that was awesome, that allowed for a young Faye to rule Senegal? It's the first time ever Senegal produced a young president like that.
So Faye is sort of like, he was thrown up by issues. Their presidential candidate for his political party, Pandep or something like that, was imprisoned. Right?
He was equally imprisoned. Faye
yes.
himself.
So Faye was being held, had not been convicted.
Okay.
But Tonto, what's the also? It has one funny name. The presidential candidate had been convicted. So he was. So their presidential candidate had been arrested, and Faye was criticizing it. Was why he was arrested.
Okay.
Right. And then that presidential candidate was eventually sentenced to 2 years imprisonment for cyberbullying, for criticizing the then president. Faye was still awaiting trial. When the elections were going to happen, the party had been disbanded, and the people went on the streets demanding that imprisoned gentleman be released and his political party must run. Now, just to have, because their judiciary is independent in Senegal, they released Faye because he had not been convicted. They did not release the other gentleman, right? So Faye ran as an independent candidate.
Really?
Yes. And won. Wow. Because the young people in Senegal said, no, we want this political party. We want a difference, right? The president had done 2 terms, had been vying for a 3rd term. And so they said if they gave his political party, he may be running through the candidate. So they gave it to the opposition, right? Anyway, that presidential candidate is prime minister today under Faye. So the judiciary in Senegal is the difference. In Nigeria, the judiciary is the reason we are asking for a transmission. Because we saw in 2022, when this electoral act was passed into law, They used it for Osun elections and Ekiti elections successfully. We're very excited for the 2023 election. They shut down the server. Now we went to court. They said, the server was supposed to be there, but it was not legal. Meaning that INEC could choose to do manual collation. We did not understand where the collations came from. We were busy looking to IREF to see the collation. So now we're asking that transmission real time be passed into law, which has been. The unfortunate thing about it is that they now put a caveat and said where there is network, meaning that one INEC person, we're already delving into your case, but they are very late.
Yes.
One INEC person can say, oh, go ahead there, Emeka, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, no, you see, the issue of not too young to run has to do with, it rests on Nigerian youths. It's up to them. You see, a situation where you go on social media and you see youths, acting as cyber thugs, for politicians, for old politicians, old enough to be their fathers and their grandfathers and mothers and grandmothers. Of course, you don't blame anybody but them. When you see young people passing up an opportunity, to become something. I mean, what do you expect? You see, look at Wike, what they have been doing in Rivers State. Now, there are rumors that he wants to bring his son to continue from where, to continue the dynasty. And it's young people who actually milling around him. Look at Umahi in the Ebonyi State. Look at it, bringing out his son to run for local government. And you see youths milling around him. So let me tell you something. There is a problem, we have a character deficit generally among Nigerians. 2, inferiority complex is a major problem among Nigerians. Inferiority complex. Once somebody has money or can throw some cash around, the person gets Nigerians to surrender. And it's so bad. Now you see the younger generation, that's why other African nations have termed us Abegistan. Abegistan, yes. Begging and begging. Whereas with your brain, with some hard work, some smart work, you can get things done. So it is up to Nigerian youths to shake off those negative traits and take up this challenge. Run. Even if you are defeated, run. In Abuja, in the FCT polls, there are no PDP candidates. Don't mind them. Because the Federal High Court, I think of Justice Elifo has said that, nullified, didn't even grant any side, either Wike's side or Makine's side. They leave to present a candidate for any election so far. So, which candidates, where did the candidates come from? The candidate didn't come from anywhere, but it's Wike with his usual show, coming up. But you see, I hope the people of FCT will sit up and elect leaders who truly represent them, not eye service, not imposed eye service, characters. Thank you.
Politicians, like I mentioned, the politicians are already putting their children there. They're not too young to run. What makes them different is that they have the money that their parents stole. Or earned by whatever means. So they can buy 100. They can, yes, they can buy 100 million naira form. How many 25-year-olds can go and get a 10 million naira form to run for Senate?
Well, I think the best way, to go about it, even when you do not have money, I think it's the first time I'm doing this publicly. To be honest to you, this might sound laughable, right? But I have considered running for the governor of my state, Imo State. Yes.
Even me, I want to run for Senate because I'm thinking,
because
if I'm encouraging people,
I might not have the money to buy the form. But for me, it's strategic positioning.
Let's find political parties that will allow us without demanding 100 million or 10 million of us.
Yes.
Because if you're asking me for 10 million, then I must already be a thief or have a godfather. In Nigeria of today, where the economy is chasing after us, where does any young 25-year-old get 10 million naira to buy a form to run for House of Assembly or Senate? Anyway, we will take a quick break, and when we return, Juror Emeka Magnagu will be here to present his case titled The Big Man and His P. To stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Middleman.
You're welcome back. My case. The big man, the big politician and his speak. The internet is abuzz with a 10-second video clip of a Nigerian politician, big man, relieving himself by the roadside. After peeing, the big man, who is dressed in a white flowing gown, also known as Agbada, turns around with a plastic bottle in his mouth while still adjusting his trousers. He was said to have stopped his convoy on the highway and jumped out of his official car to relieve himself. Fellow Africans who won't toss an opportunity to ridicule Nigerians have been sharing the video widely. I'm lost for words anyway, because this is according to accounts, is obviously an influential politician who should be a frontliner in the campaign against open defecation and urination. Nigerian states have participated in various water, sanitation, and hygiene WASH programs designed to ensure access to safe drinking water, adequate sanitation facilities like toilets, and good hygiene practices such as hand washing to improve public health, reduce diseases, e.g. diarrhea, cholera, and support child survival and development. With this kind of video, how will our development partners feel after committing billions of dollars to different WASH initiatives in Nigeria? My verdict: yes, the call of nature can come up at any time, but that's one of the reasons why we ask Nigerian politicians to make the country better so that they can also enjoy it. It is not every need you can hop into a plane and fly abroad for. No, something like the call of nature can occur anywhere. But if our leaders invest heavily in public toilets and sensitize the citizens against defecating and urinating openly, the environment and citizens will be the better for it. Yes, he could have gone into a hotel, a quick service restaurant, a fueling station, etc., as someone suggested. But the mindset that projects this kind of indecorous public display speaks to the general low quality of leadership Nigerians have been assailed with for decades. Anything goes for them, but citizens must push back and demand a society of decent individuals and conduct. This is a regular ugly spectacle on the highways. You could find a convoy pulled up on a hard shoulder with the main person either urinating by the roadside or sprinting into the bush to do number two. This also affects ordinary citizens. This is an advocacy for a more vigorous WASH system in Nigeria.
Nigeria make a fantastic case. 3 things quickly for me. 1, Nigeria is number 1. At least we are number 1 in something for open defecation in the world.
Really?
Yes. We used to be number 2.
Not India.
No, we used to be number 2 after India. India is copying it. And look, India is 1.3 billion in population.
So 7 times our size.
And we are 250 there about million. We are number 1 for open defecation. India is now the health destination of the world. So of course they're copying, all of these things. They still have slums and all of that. But Nigeria is number 1. Kudos to our government. We are number 1 on something. Number 2 is that, listen, as you have mentioned, if it was not a culture that this person has grown up with, again, money doesn't buy class. Only God knows how he got his money, right? Our leaders, our elites, you see, this finishing school that they did not go to, no school of leadership, because if you realize that you are a mentor, an example for the larger populace, by the time that call of nature is calling of nature, look how decorous it looked. You run into a fueling station, a restaurant, somewhere. If it is number 2, will he open his bomb on the street and be doing it also? He stopped his convoys just to do it. Number 3 is that when half of the streets, like you saw in one of the clips, is even packed with dirt, like a pigsty where people are dumping dirt on the road, why won't somebody just open his trousers and do his business on the street? What do I mean by that? If you enter a kitchen and the entire sink is clean, there's a tendency for you to look for sponge to quickly wash your plate or cup or whatever it is you're holding. But when you enter a kitchen and the whole sink is full, plates, pans, everywhere, the tendency is for you to drop that your 1 spoon or 1 plate to join the clutter, So when the entire place is a mess already, the big man does not see a big deal in opening his business, for everyone to see. It's unfortunate that that's our culture. again, we can't run away from our past, our very recent past of using, you know how our toilets used to be, they call them shalanga. They're pretty much open holes in the ground, but you'll have maybe some form of wooden door or something just to cover your business. Now that we have proper, you know, sanitary WC, water closets, some people are still not used to it because they became big men, you know, by error. It's unfortunate.
Very so unfortunate. And this brings me to psychological or a research in psychology, actually. It called this the great equalizer, a meeting point for the very influential and for the non-influential people. So it's a meeting point. Nature has a way of bringing everyone to the same spot, right? And there are two cases where nature always brings us to the same spot. It's called the great equalizer. Number one is sex, right? That is one place or one exercise that it doesn't select who you are. You have to respect it when the call comes. And the second is removal of waste from our system, right? That is equally one call that you have to respect. So devoid of what influence you have, what materialistic connections you have to respect, and you do it secretly. No one helps you to hold it and do it.
Very
you have
true.
to just do it yourself.
Very true.
Right? So, and it speaks to what Emeka, said when he was reading out that is a call of nature. You have to respect it as much as you can. But let's take a look at it from a nationalistic culture that we have imbibed upon ourselves. We might excuse that man to say, okay, for me, I've lived in the north. What he has done is normal to them.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean anything to them. Anyone can just do it. It's simple. When you go to Kara, just close to us here, and you see the way they live their lives. That is the same way they live their lives everywhere.
Kara toilets is in the middle, the middle of the road.
Yes.
Everybody just goes there, bend down and do their business.
They don't even send themselves.
Number one is even okay. Number two, in the middle of the median.
Yes, any
Come
time of the
on.
day. You understand? Any time of the day they do it. So let's excuse the culture thing. But how about, did you see that viral video of a diplomat? A white Caucasian man who equally did the same in VI or something.
Is the culture when you're in Rome?
So, yeah, thank you. so this is more like so rather than crucify the people who do this,
When you're in Rome,
yes, who take part in this, why not let's see how we can checkmate our culture as a people in Nigeria.
So will that be orientation or reorientation? Because I went to Lagos State Market with one of my aunties, and she had this issue that makes her go to the bathroom quite often. And we were pleasantly surprised. In the middle of Isaleko, they had public toilets. You pay, how much was it we pay? Was it 200 naira or how much to use the bathroom? And there were cleaners there. As you go in, do your business, they collect your 200 naira. Immediately they go in and clean up after you in the middle of the market. So if we have more public toilets like that, you know, and we maintain them and you charge a fee, these people should not be going to do
But
their
that man has
business
more than
openly.
enough money now, so it's not about the money thing. It's just about that is who
His
he is.
mindset that,
Yes.
oh, now I'm pressed,
let me-
and
let
just
me
stop
just-
the car and I just do it on the road. Because if you control your mindset, you can actually control your bowels.
Because
And-
if he was
and
in
wait-
the UK, he
yes,
would
he
never
won't
have
do it
done
on
that.
regardless of how
Yes.
pressed he was.
He would
He
never
would
have done
never do that. He will wait to get to the next restaurant or public place
Yeah,
to
issue
use
or
the
something.
bathroom. It's very unfortunate. Anyway, we'll take a quick break, and when we return, Juro Henry Igwebike will be here to present his case titled Tinubu, the 10th National Assembly and the e-transmission debate. Who is the market in Nigeria? Just stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Middleman.
Thank you for staying with us. My case, Tinubu, the 10th National Assembly and the e-transmission debate. Who is the market in Nigeria? The decision by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the 10th National Assembly to prioritize a manual transmission of election results over electronic transmission has sparked national debate. Many Nigerians were startled by the claim that the country is not yet ripe for full e-transmission, especially in light of years of telecom expansion. Major operators including MTN, Nigeria, Airtel, Nigeria, Globacom, and Nine Mobile pushed back strongly. The chairman of the Association of Licensed Telecom Operators of Nigeria, Gbenga Adebayo, described the narrative of poor infrastructure as misleading. He urged lawmakers to rely on verifiable data from the Nigerian Communications Commission, noting that over 70% of Nigeria is covered by 3G and 4G networks, with 5G expanding steadily. Even 2G, he argued, is sufficient enough for transmitting election results. The Independent National Electoral Commission had earlier maintained that results uploaded to its IREF portal would automatically transmit once devices connect to network coverage, even in remote areas, he said. Critics now question the signal this sends to foreign investors, especially foreign direct investors. And if Nigeria officially doubts its own digital capacity, what confidence does that inspire globally? My verdict: governance thrives on credibility. And if telecom operators and regulators affirm readiness, dismissing electronic transmission risk, why would our leaders now say technologically we cannot do it ourselves? Jules.
Snatch it, grab it, run with it. That's how we did 2023 election. That's how they want to do 2027 elections. 3 things quickly for me. 1, Senator Natasha Uduaha said we can link up with Starlinks. Is something millions per community. It will be something billions for the entire country. I will be okay. They came and said, no, it is a national interest.
Okay.
You cannot allow external forces, this and that and that. Local network providers say, look, even with 2G, that is the one we used in 19 Gbogboro.
In 2000, when Olusegun Obasanjo allowed it to come in.
25 years ago, with 2G, you can transmit election results. Government say, rara, that 2G self, I don't have in my own village. Okay, if you do not have it in your own village, former INEC Commissioner Igini said, see, the machines, they can transmit with or without network. Meaning that as you are filling the form EC8A, sure you have counted, then you can also fill in your beavers with the results. Even if there's no network, it can transmit. What will happen is by the time you now take it to your collation center where there's network, you can no longer tamper with it. What has been imputed automatically goes. It's pretty much like what we have on the Citizen Monitors platform. President Tinubu, when he was assenting this amendment quickly, said manual is the way we do the voting.
And the transmission
you
is
now count it manually. What do you mean by e-transmission? Although he may be making a bit of sense, because if you
what's the sense in it?
No, if you do e-voting,
okay,
I will come now. When you do e-voting, right, there's no human interference. As you thumbprint,
okay,
it is counted.
Okay.
This one, we do manual thumbprinting, manual counting, and then say e-transmission.
Okay.
Even though it makes sense in that the only guaranteed, because you know, data quality, data credibility is also very important when you do transmission, because if the results have been tampered with, be it at the polling units, say for instance,
you mean the
e-transmission, when you are doing e-transmission of an election that has been manually done,
okay,
right, data quality becomes an issue. Because if, for instance, you compromise all the agents, all the party agents, and you remember one PDP politician who said he did not use to rig elections, though, he just used to bribe all the political agents of opponents to look the other way. when they are doing their thing. So imagine if that happens in one polling unit, in one remote village, where all the people there are old and illiterate. Remember that half of our population are in multidimensional poverty. More than half of us are also illiterate. So imagine, and they will not come and do this mago in the urban areas. They will go to the very rural poor.
And those are the bulk votes.
So imagine, that's where the bulk votes come from. Prior to Beavers, we used to wait for Kaduna, Katsina, and Kano, the KKK. Is in millions as they land like this. Anybody that they voted for must win the election. Yeah. But with Beavers now, you cannot accredit somebody twice. The numbers dropped by more than half. Only Kano was still showing millions.
Yeah, millions.
Right?
Millions, yeah.
Anyway, coming back to my initial, why I support half of what the president was saying in terms of manual voting and e-transmission. So if you have polling units where everybody has been compromised, INEC youth corps members and all the political parties that people vote, and then you now go and alter the form EC8A, you know that it is that alteration that you also be transmitting by e-transmission. That's the only place that it makes sense, because at the end of the day, if you do not do real-time transmission, every polling unit can be compromised. Every polling unit can be compromised. Let me tell you what happened in Edo. They would take the picture of the original form EC8A, right, that you and I, the voter, can verify, and post on IREV. Immediately after, they alter that form.
Okay.
You know, all the political parties have already signed. They will alter the form and make a photocopy. They now take that,
the photocopy,
and the altered original, and now take it to collation center. What they are collating is what has been altered,
not the one they've sent to
IREV, because it is not. Go
ahead,
what
happened in Rivers State now. That was what happened in Rivers State now.
Exactly, also happened in Rivers State.
Where Peter Obi clearly won. But you see, the thing is, the Nigerian judiciary is the big problem, is the big elephant in the room. Because, you see, this shouldn't actually be an issue. You know, the Nigerian judiciary has actually led itself, you know, allow politicians to lead it to a very, you know, unhelpful venture. What am I saying? The reliance on technicalities to knock out cases has become so embarrassing, you know, for the Nigerian judiciary. What they looked at was the fact that those, the IREV, you know, the Beavers, were in the guidelines, INEC's guidelines for the elections, that they were not part of the Electoral Act or the Constitution. Now, well, we've made some progress, I think, at least the Electoral Act recognizes, the Electoral Act now recognizes the IREV. So when the matter gets to the tribunal,
which one will now supersede? IREV or manual collation? The law doesn't say. That's why people are saying they've dangled a carrot ahead of us. You'll be clapping that e-transmission is now law, right? But it says only if network goes.
Yes.
So so anybody, the returning officer can say, oh, sorry,
there's no network.
No network here.
So it's manual.
It's manual collation.
So the entire country might decide to do manual.
Exactly. That's where the amendment is being faulted by opposition. And that the president assented to it quickly because he buys into his snatch it, grab it, run with it. You have 30 governors. You have almost 100 senators. All the INEC, CBN and everything is under your machinery. Why are you afraid of free and fair elections? That's the question for the executive.
Because lots of people have actually, you know, questioned his motive towards this. As a student of leadership, you know, I know too well that everyone is open to mistakes, right? if you take a look at microcosm, actually, if you take a look at the issue that happened in Enugu State, Peter Mbah versus the Labour Party man, it was agreed by people in Enugu that the Labour Party man actually won that election, right? But Supreme Court gave it willingly to Peter Mbah. But Peter Mbah did something awesome. He understood that, okay, this is the problem. Now, the first term of office I have, let me turn around some things. Let me do something good. And he started doing something good. Awesomely well. Did so good that even the Labour Party man had to defect to Peter Mbah's party. Then he was with the PDP, defected to the PDP. Because he knew that Peter Mbah did things for Enugu people that he himself might not have been able to do with the Labour Party. And today, even if Peter Mbah decides to go with AYZ party, the people of Enugu would willingly vote for him.
Please, which party is Peter Mbah now?
He's with the APC.
Hey, whoa.
Right? So he's with the APC, plugging to the center now to collect 500 billion.
So, like I was saying,
Yes.
like I was saying, so some progress has been made. I mean, now the Electoral Act recognizes e-transmission. Of course, by the time the Constitution is amended, there will be e-transmission. We are making progress. We are making some progress. And let me tell you something. This whole thing might just be a blessing in disguise for the opposition, because all that Tinubu is doing and all of that running up and down. What if he's not part of that election somehow? What will happen? So the thing is this, they never realized when Jonathan had the opportunity to, sign the amended constitution, in 2015, he was waiting. Oh no, don't worry, when I get the second term. And all, these beavers, NIN and others were part of the resolutions of the 2014 National Conference. And if Jonathan had actually signed, NIN and others would have been in the constitution. These things would have, beavers and all that would have been in the constitution. And it would have even helped him, helped his re-election bid. But he thought, in the usual fashion of Nigerian politicians, that, he could
have the machinery
find
of government to bring himself back.
Yes. So that is how Nigerian politicians, miss it. But of course, like there are some amendments now, there are some other changes too, that the opposition wanted, that are already there. I mean, for instance, INEC now has to receive the money, his budget for the election, 6 months, to the next general election, not 12 months.
Help?
Then,
The course.
no, of course, the parliament cannot claim that it is that there are delays, there are hiccups, and that's why INEC hasn't got money. Because right now they're actually going through budget defense. So it will now force the government, force the executive to roll back, to go, to make sure that the budget, is passed much earlier, so that INEC can get his money 6 months before a general election. Now, INEC is asking for over
this
$1 trillion.
INEC money
How are they going to make that?
INEC is asking for almost 900 billion.
1 trillion plus.
No.
Yeah,
If
1
you add
trillion.
the 800 billion, 872 billion plus 100 and something billion.
For technology.
Yes.
No,
if you add them together, 1.something trillion.
federal government budgeted 1.01 trillion
Okay.
for the elections in the 2026 budget. INEC came to defend 893 billion to the National Assembly, saying 200 billion of that will be for technology. Hey, and say, look, we did not use 100 million to build citizen monitors, and it has the capability to take all the Nigerian voters. It's the same Amazon platform that we are using with citizenmonitors.com. So if you give me 200 billion for technology, look, the whole world will do electronic voting in Nigeria. There are 7 billion people in the world. The whole world will do electronic voting for 2027 Nigerian election. That is, we say everybody come and help us vote. In the entire world, 200 billion naira, we will do electronic voting.
It's actually quite bad, actually.
Because you can't be asking for 200 billion for technology,
You know,
and
we
you're still
have
telling us that we do not have network in some villages. What are you? So there are many questions that we need to ask the executive. INEC is supposed to be independent.
Yeah.
Even the executive should be asking INEC, which technology do you need 200 billion for?
To do.
But the executive budgeted 1.01 trillion. Sir, correspond it with when we were buying beavers in 2023. We spent how much? 300 billion. Now you're asking for times 3.
Well, that was when the dollar was 400.
I agree.
So the multiplied 3.
But you are not buying the beavers machines again. So if you tell me that you're spending 500 billion or even say times 2, right? You're not buying beavers machines again. They already exist. Tell me you're spending 500 billion. I'll say the difference is in dollar.
Yeah.
And then dollars for what again, Seth? Is it paper printing or for paying ad hoc staff? We need to scrutinize that their budgets well. Don't come and spend hard-earned money that you need to use to buy MRI machines for all of our general hospitals for an election where you want to snatch it, grab it, and run with it.
Very so funny. If the military could transition from option A4, open ballot system, that Babangida introduced in 1993, because of they felt that the safety of electorates was very important, they had to jettison the option A4. Then why won't we in 2026 task ourselves and say, let's go for e-transmission, at least such that we can even, Bola Tinubu can use that as a campaign.
For e-voting.
E-voting and to foreign direct investors. Our capacity is big. We have the infrastructure to take on everything.
Is it the same? Is it the same Tinubu that announced that an executive order will replace, a constitutional, mandate? NNPC has a mandate to receive 30% of profit oil and profit gas revenues, but Tinubu now issued an executive order saying that had been replaced. I mean, what sort of gangsterism is this?
All right.
Why not just ask the National Assembly, which mainly dominated by APC, to amend the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021 instead of going through this, this kind of illegal
route? Away from this topic. That's petroleum.
All right, that's a wrap on the Middleman Show for today. We hope you enjoyed our conversation. And until next time, stay informed, stay engaged. We are at Enterprise TV7 across all social media platforms. From Jurors and I, bye-bye for now.
Middleman.